There we go.
Yeah.
There, I think we are up and running now. That looks a little better. Welcome to live, where
Yes,
you never know what's going to happen.
we're back again.
We're back again. We are. Well,
We had so
anyway.
much fun on the last show, we decided to do it again.
Go away, you big ham. Okay, let's give this a try. Hey, hello everyone, and welcome to our Sunday night offering of Astronomy Outreach, the Sunday Night Astronomy Show
Yay!
Yay!
for April 17th. Happy Easter, everybody. My name is Chris Kerwin. I'm the creator of the social media channels known as Astronomy by the Bay, and I'm an amateur astronomer and member of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada. First of all, I'd like to welcome back my two regular co-hosts, fellow RAS member Mr. Paul Owen from the Moon Shadow Observatory in beautiful Hampton, New Brunswick. Hey, Paul.
Hello.
Evening. And I'd like to welcome back our other regular co-host and fellow RAS member, Mr. Mike Powell from the PFO Observatory here in beautiful St. John, New Brunswick. Welcome, Mike.
Welcome from Faux.
Okay, so before we get started tonight, I have a couple of announcements to make, and I just need a spot where I can bring up those announcements, so give me a second here.
Don't press any button.
The wonders of, yeah, these aren't pretty buttons.
That's not a familiar button.
The wonders of going live.
Just hit the any key.
Okay, let's make our announcements here. So first of all, let's go with this because a lot of the audience out here doesn't know. But before we get started, first of all, say we're very pleased to announce that, as well as airing live on my YouTube and Facebook channels at 8 p.m. each Sunday night, the Sunday Night Astronomy Show is now also being offered through Rogers Community Programming here in New Brunswick. So tonight's program will be rebroadcast on the New Brunswick community channels a number of times each week. We ask that you check out your local schedule for dates and times in your area. We'd like to thank all those at Rogers for their interest in what we offer here. Thank you, Rogers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the big news. And our other news is our Shoot the Moon contest is still on with the deadline at midnight of April 23rd. And for those who aren't aware, I ask for you to send in a new photo of the moon with any camera or phone and submit it to a new address, which is SNAS, SNAS for Sunday Night Astronomy Show, at astronomybythebay.ca. Now, if you send in a photo of the planet as well, you'll get a second entry to the contest. And the prizes are 4 of the 2022 Night Sky Almanac books, presented by the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada and created by Nicole Mortellero. It's an excellent beginner's book on learning about those night sky treasures and where to find them. And the newest prize comes from our astronomer friend, Stéphane Picard, who has started a new business called Cliff Valley Astronomy. And Stéphane has offered a 2-hour private stargazing session, which can be a birthday party or just a gathering of friends or family. And for this prize to be offered in person, you must live in southern New Brunswick. Otherwise, he is offering an online experience. I'll invite you to check out his site at Cliff Valley Astronomy. Thanks again, Stéphane, for the prize offering. Appreciate that. And I'm sure the contestants here will appreciate it as well. The deadline for the contest now is midnight, April 23rd, and the prizes will be drawn on next week's show on the 24th. So good luck, everybody, and I'd love to see your entries. So that's that part of the show.
Yes.
Awesome.
That's our news. Hey, okay, so
We're famous now.
yeah, we're famous now, just like peas and carrots. Okay.
Well, see you next week.
On tonight's episode of the Sunday Night Astronomy Show, no matter what we try to learn in life, we seldom have to reinvent the wheel, so to speak. It's the same with learning to become an avid astronomer. You can learn a lot on your own for sure, but each of us here has learned a lot from each other, especially from these two guys. I've learned an awful lot. Not all that I want to learn, but tonight we're offering the first of a 2-part discussion on what may be the top 20 astronomy tips, what we might think might be the top 20, things that we've learned over our years in this hobby that will hopefully help you avoid the frustrations we sometimes experience when learning new things. Also tonight, Mike is going to bring back a vinyl bud with another fine binocular target of the week for you to check out. Paul will be offering another of his astrophotography tips of the week. This week, Paul will be talking about elongated stars and a simple fix for those egg-shaped. Hey, egg-shaped. Good point.
It's Easter.
Yeah.
You got it.
Those egg-shaped stars in your photos. Now, Rosanna is taking a well-deserved week off from our program, so no Rosanna's Fun Facts segment this week, but hopefully we'll have her back next week. I know.
We
It's
miss
upset-
her already.
Yep.
We already, yep. Now I'll have a quick view of what to check out in the night sky this week, or in the daytime and nighttime sky. Actually, there's a lot going on, and we'll have an awful lot of your wonderful photos submissions to share as well. Now this is family-friendly live broadcast, interactive live broadcast. So for those of you joining us from my YouTube channel or Facebook page, we are happy to try to answer all of your astronomy questions here in real time as well. So let's get started with tonight's topic, guys, and look at our top astronomy tips.
All right.
Okay. So yeah, we've practiced a lot about astronomy and different things that we've learned along the way. A lot of school of hard knocks kind of stuff, but it doesn't have to be. If you join a local astronomy club, you're going to pick up a lot of information from the guys who actually have been in the club for a while, and even newcomers, newbies in the hobby can pick up a lot of really cool stuff off the internet, YouTube videos, all that kind of stuff. But we're going to try to relay along some of the ones that we picked up along the way, and see if we can get started with some of them. We'll go over here. All right, so I made a list of the top 10, but I looked at that list of top 20, and I'm kind of rearranging some things around. So these aren't really in any particular order. They're just things that we might want to consider when you're out and about. So I'd say one of them, I guess, would be plan your evening. Make a list first of what you plan on doing. Things like being sure your batteries are charged up, like Mike pointed out earlier there. Charge for your scope, your camera, laptop, etc. Check planetarium programs or the internet to find out what's going to be visible, and make a list of those targets so that when you go out, you've got an idea, hey, was I going to look at this target or that target, and where they might be in the sky, especially if you're using a manual telescope. Anything else along that line, guys?
Check the weather.
Look out the window.
You get all set up to go out. Next thing you know, the fog rolls in and you're done before you even got started. So.
Absolutely. Yep. There are sites, weather cams you can go on to in New Brunswick. They have a number of like highway cams and stuff. So if we're heading over to Saints Rest Beach, where we head a lot here in St. John, we can have perfectly clear sky in the north and west side part of the city. But then when you get over to there, the fog just rolls in really quickly. So you really have to have a quick look at that for sure, because things can change pretty quick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Something else to keep in mind too is if you're going to do any imaging or deep sky observing, check your moon phases.
There.
Because you could say, oh, it's a clear day, I'm going to go out. And if you've got a full moon, and if you're looking for deep sky stuff, unless it's real bright, you're probably not going to get a real good look at it.
Yeah.
And especially if you're trying to image it, it'll be, unless you have special narrowband filters,
Absolutely.
it'll be quite difficult. So check your moon phases.
Because it's gone from a nebula night to a cluster night.
That's right. Well, we're rarely getting even a clear night. I mean, tonight it is looks pretty nice out there, but it's rare to get a clear night anyway right now lately. So,
Yeah. Seeing and transparency
time of year.
tonight are both supposed to be very bad. So
Are they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we take what we can get, and when we live in maritime Canada, I guess.
it is.
Especially this time of year. So I'd say that's what we would probably agree to as far as just try to make a plan. Like try to think about what you want to do, because it's really hard to make that plan when you're out in the dark and you're trying to look through a book and trying to find things, which gets us to our next point. Well, kind of part of the same thing, I guess, is really dressing as if it's 10 degrees colder than it actually is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be standing. Bring along some extra clothing, maybe a warm beverage if you have one, if you have a favorite. You'll be in one spot and not generating much heat at all. So that's a critical one, and like it's being comfortable. It's the whole thing. I've seen many nights that I've gone and I wish I had brought an extra coat, or even a hat, because if you get to places like we are at Saints Rest, it's a windy spot, and it might feel like it's nice and comfortable, but all of a sudden the wind picks up and it just takes your breath away sometimes. But yeah,
Add to that nice thermos with a warm drink in it, whatever it may be.
absolutely.
Coffee, hot chocolate, something that when you get that chill, you can feel it going right down the pipe and warms you up. Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
makes a difference.
anybody here on YouTube or Facebook has anything to add to these topics, please add to them because we'd like to pass those on as well. So,
Um, it's good too to keep a towel or two in your vehicle, especially if it's going to be a night that's really cool and it's been warm all day, because you're going to get a lot of dew, and it's good to have something to be able to wipe down a lot of that really wet stuff, especially when it gets near your electronics and that kind of thing. So, so try to keep the dew not so much off the optics, because typically you have dew heaters or some kind of warmer for that, but everything else will get just as wet.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah. So.
yeah. Even a garbage bag to throw in your trunk just in case you happen to get that odd shower that happens to come over.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have enough time to pack stuff up.
That's right, cover it up.
It really is just making a list and having that list and checking it off as you go out the door or as you prepare to go out the door, so that you're not disappointed when you get out there and say, oh, I didn't bring along this item or that item, kind of thing.
And coming in the weather,
cardboard box for a dew shield that might.
There.
yeah, it works.
Chris,
Coming into the weather too, Chris, when it's getting warmer, you want to make sure you got some bug spray.
There's another one. Yeah.
Yes.
Because they love astronomers.
They do. And again, you're standing in one spot, so you're a perfect target, right?
Yeah, you're a target.
Yeah, you can't really get away. So that's the whole thing. Someone mentioned on here as well. Chris mentioned hand warmers. Those are a great idea, Chris, for sure. Keeping those things handy. Buy a pack, throw them in the car, and you've got them not just for warming up your eyepieces and things. You might take an eyepiece that's got a little bit of dew on it and put it in your pocket with a hand warmer, and away you go. I've taken it, wrapped them around camera lenses and stuff to keep them warm. Even your hand pad, when you get that time of year when it's really cold, you can put a warmer on your hand pad, strap it on, and it can kind of keep your hand pad so that you can see the display, that kind of stuff. So they do come in very handy. They're reasonably cheap. You buy a big box of 40 of them, for fairly cheap price, and you can get toe warmer ones, hand warmer ones, so all different sizes and good stuff.
Especially this time of year because they're all on sale. Now that winter's over, you can get them at half price or better.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Now, Jamie mentioned the next topic that I was going to discuss,
which was
get a comfortable chair, and that probably to me is probably the most important one out of all the things that you'd want to bring with you. Maybe besides having enough warm clothing, but again, it's being comfortable. Like there's no better purchase you can make really than a comfortable chair. Now it can be like a music stand type or a musician's type of chair, or you can get chairs now at local retail stores that crank up and stuff and adjust to different heights. You really want to get an adjustable if possible, because sometimes you'll be looking straight out at the horizon and sometimes you'll be looking right up, and your eyepiece is going to change position. So you want to be able to get something that can adjust a bit. But getting yourself comfortable in a comfortable chair is going to take your thoughts away from the pain in your back that you're experiencing because you're bent over your telescope and trying to hold the eyepiece still and that type of thing. So whether you're at the eyepiece using binoculars, whether you're at the eyepiece on a telescope or using binoculars or just staring back at the sky during a nice meteor shower or something, you don't want to be standing too long, and you don't want to be thinking about your aching back. So you want to try to concentrate on that view, right?
And to add to that too, there's chairs for different applications. Because if you're going to do just binocular viewing or something like that, then one of those chairs that just kind of lean back, those are absolutely perfect for that. But if you're doing some viewing, especially with like a Dobsoni or something, to actually get one of those observer's chairs, they're worth their weight in gold. They're easy, they're small, they fold up, but they can put you in any position that you want to be. For long periods of time and very comfortable, and I mean extremely low to the ground, or up quite a ways. So they I think that I don't know what you paid. Well, Mike, you have one made, but you can get them for less than $200.
You can.
And like I say, they fold up. Anyway, I can't say enough about those.
I went to
I have a back issue and it saves my back every time.
They'll also double as a laptop table or something like that too, because you can set your laptop on it and use it like an extendable table.
Try not to get a black one, because I made that mistake. And every time I set up my telescope, I snap my back and I crack into it or trip over it or something. So the next one I buy is going to be white, or I'm going to get this one painted white. But you can buy an astronomer's chair, and they can run a few $100, or you can go to a local music shop who has chairs that I've seen them at music shops that are just a guitarist chair. where they would sit, play guitar, and they could adjust their seat from certain levels. So that's another option for you. And you can also get ones made. I mean, you can online. There's lots of plans. If you just type astronomer's chair to build your own DIY astronomer's chair, you can find all kinds of plans out there. Really cheap lumber to be able to make one. And you want something that's going to be fairly light too, because you're going to be moving around from spot to spot. Like you're not always going to be looking here. You might be up here or over here. So you want something that you can move around very easily.
Yeah.
But again, white if possible.
Jamie mentioned too that she had a drum throne, which would actually work well because drum thrones typically you can spin them, so you can adjust the height. Really good ones you could actually just spin them and lock them.
Right.
Other ones you're going to take a bolt out and drop them down, but the ones that you spin and lock, those are actually very, very good idea for observing.
I didn't think to bring mine here tonight, but I'll bring mine in from my vehicle for next week's show, and I'll demonstrate that one as well. Feel like I need a table attachment for my chair for my sketchbook. That's true, Josh. That's another great idea. Brad says I have a little pair of gloves that are thin enough that I can operate my equipment and work without touch screens. That's good.
Yes.
Or work with touch screens. That's very good too. Yeah. So you never have to take them off. Great idea, Brad. Keeping your hands warm. Again, keeping comfortable is a big part of it, so that you're not thinking about the environment around you. All you're concentrating on is that view, that really thin or faint view of that faint fuzzy in that telescope that you're trying to bring out, the image to your eyeball with. Okay, if we go on from that, we'll keep going here. Probably one of the other ones that might be really important is maintaining your dark adaptation. So your eyes take at least 20 minutes to dark adapt. I think it's about 40 minutes for them really to chemically dark adapt, to really open up as much as you possibly can get them, the pupils. And the more your pupils open, the more photons you're going to be able to capture, and the more of a view you're going to get. Excuse me. If you go into your room at night and you turn off the light in your bedroom, and you might be fumbling around to try to find your bed. That's because your pupils are small. And then when they dilate, you can see around your room better. So that's the same idea.
Well, obviously you're in the wrong room if you.
Well, that's no. I trip over something when I turn off the light. I should stand still and then wait till my eyes adjust and then start walking. Anyway, you want to get your pupils to the maximum so you can see much more. Yet it only takes an instant to lose that dark adaptation. So try to avoid street lights or lights from houses. Use a red flashlight. You can take one.
You always get the guy in a wonderful car that sweeps the field with their headlights.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
One of these. These are red flashlights. You can, like a headband. You can buy them pretty well at any local department store now. They're a great idea. Just don't put it on the white flash, but you got a nice red light there to find your way around maps and that kind of thing. Don't use your phone. Don't use light on your phone.
You can use cellophane too. Cellophane.
Yeah, cell phones too.
There you go. You want to multitask. But cellophane. If you have a light like Chris has, because you can buy them. Sometimes you don't get them with red on them.
Yeah.
But just get red cellophane and elastic band, and you're good to go.
These are at a local auto store.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah,
they're fantastic.
Yeah, they work great when they work, but this one's dead.
$3.99.
$3.99. They have a little CR2332 battery in the back. They're basically a wristband for joggers. But we find we take them and strap them to the legs of your telescope, and they'll light up red, a little red LED strip in them, and they'll light the ground around you, that kind of thing. So they're great as well. Now, like Paul said, use a red flashlight or a red flashlight with a piece of red film over it. Leave your phone in your pocket. Don't take your phone out. Instead of using a stargazing app on your phone, use a red light. And, this is the book that we're giving away in the contest, actually 4 of them. And inside that book, there are lots of star charts. So that, with the red flashlight, is going to show you a whole lot more of the sky than an app is going to show you. Or you can even go to our, we have a Sky News magazine, which is our Canadian astronomy magazine. And in the center of the magazine is the layout of a star map. So there are lots of places to be able to find star maps. There are planispheres you can buy. All of these make it much easier to lay flat and take a look at. There are books on the market that actually lay flat with star maps on them. So you can look at, like Terrence Dickinson's book, Night Watch. That's another book that's recommended that does have star maps that flop out, and then again, just use a red flashlight. The thing about using your phone and using an app on your phone, okay, that's great. You can hold it up, and a lot of the apps now you can do this and find out what things are in the sky. But say you're looking at your app, and all of a sudden your phone rings, and then the screen goes bloop, bright light. You got a call from somebody you don't want to talk to, and all of a sudden you've lost your dark adaptation. Yeah. Well, you really don't anyway when your phone goes like that. So you've lost your dark adaptation in an instant, and it takes you another 20 minutes to get it back again. So that's
saying that a lot of these new scopes are coming out with the Sky Sense, where you need your phone to look at the night sky and use plate solving to put you on an object. Yeah. The least you can do is put it in night mode, where they'll come up with a red light on the background.
That's right. Yes.
It should stay in night mode, especially while the program is running, at least.
Right. Now another idea.
I was supposed to say, Tanya was asking why red, and so by using red lights, the cones can receive enough light to provide some photopic viewing, but that band of light is not going to affect your dark adaptation,
right? Unless
it's really bright. I mean, even because it's red doesn't mean it won't be protected by certain intensities. But if you keep a low enough intensity that's red, then your eyes can still see, but they're not affected enough by that specific band that's going to affect your dark adaptation.
Yeah. Now, if you were looking at, say, you're going out, you wanted to find some of these faint fuzzies in the times when you don't have a bright moon, and like Paul says, don't go out on a bright moon because you're not going to find the faint ones. But if you were, say, set up in your backyard or someplace close, or even once you got to your observing site, you can consider putting a patch over putting a patch over your eye that you're going to do the observing with. Yeah, that's not going to help, especially if you point the light.
Turn the light on.
Yeah.
I put 2 patches on.
But if you patch your eye that you're going to, I can't.
Sorry.
Oh, why do I bother? Yeah.
It doesn't matter what color your hair is if you're wearing 2 patches, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you have a particular eye that you're going to do the observing with, consider putting a patch on it for, say, 20 minutes before you do any observing. And if you're in a nice dark spot, then when you take the patch off, your eye has already been adjusted. So you've got a chance to start right away and try to find those objects right away. So that's something that somebody had told me. I'd never tried it yet, but I didn't. I mean, I've always wanted to be a pirate, but.
Ever done astronomy, Billy?
Okay, let's carry on here. Okay, so here's another one that I picked up off the internet. Keep both eyes open when observing.
Yes.
That one I wasn't really sure about, but it does make sense.
It takes some getting used to.
Yeah, it does. Now, apparently, when you squint, electrical impulses move over to your open eye, and they'll cause your eye to vibrate, and which means that it causes less signals to your brain. Now, I haven't really tried that, but that's what I've read, and it sounds logical. Yeah. So
makes sense.
I use both eyes, but it took some getting used to.
Really I think you really do get a better concept when you're using both eyes. I mean, when binoculars, of course, you do, but when you're using one eyeball at your eyepiece and you open the other eye, it does give you a better sense of.
Well, that's why you have to cross the other eye.
There's a lot of senses that go on. Like even they recommend that in daytime photography when you're using like a regular camera. Because a lot of people will look in the viewfinder and close the other eye.
Right.
But you're supposed to keep them both open because it gives you a much better perception.
Yes.
And you actually do see more.
Yeah. I do believe it. Yeah.
Probably, but yeah.
Okay, let's keep going here. We got a few more to cover. We're about halfway through. So let's say next, maybe let your equipment cool down before observing. Try to have it reach the ambient temperature if you can. Now, telescopes can develop what's called tube currents. Warm air that is gradually being cooled. So especially if you have a refractor telescope, that column of air that's inside the refractor isn't really going to escape. So that has to depend on the outside casing of the telescope before it can get cold enough. Now, reflector telescopes are a little different. Dobsonians, they don't have as much of a problem with tube currents because they're open on one end and your mirror's way down at the far end. That helps with dew, I guess, as well. But it does still happen. So the longer you can let your telescope cool down, really, closer to the ambient temperature, the better your views are, more crisper your views are going to be because you're not going to see these waves coming by your telescope and these turbulent air columns that are building inside your telescope too. So what they recommend is for a telescope 4 inches and under, usually about 20 minutes is adequate. For enough time for you to be able to set up and enjoy it. Now for scopes that are larger than 4 inches, you should add about another 10 minutes for each inch of aperture that you're going to. So if it's a 6-inch telescope, you want to say 30 minutes and so on. And that'll give you enough time for your telescope to cool down to the ambient temperature, and you'll get your best views really when you're cooled down to that temperature.
If you're too, Chris, with that in mind, if you have an open-ended telescope like a reflector, Dobsonian, that kind of stuff, they'll cool down for one reason, but you still have the glass to cool.
That's right.
If you're using something like a Schmidt Cassegrain or a Mac Cass or something that's got a real thick meniscus glass in the front of it and a heavy mirror, a thick mirror in the back, those sometimes can take 2 to 3 hours to cool.
True.
So, so a lot of it will depend on the type of optic that you have. But you can go online and just look that up and see whatever telescope you have and what they recommend for cool down time.
Yeah. So allow yourself lots of time. Bottom line, get your telescope out as soon as you possibly can. Let it sit there, let it climatize, and then get your stuff while you're getting your stuff ready for observing. So the more of that you can do, the better. Something else that can drastically affect, maybe this is point number 7, I guess we're talking about, can dramatically affect your view is setting it up in the wrong location. Now that might sound a little funny, but there are places to set up your telescope and there are places not to set it up. Now, probably one of your best places to set it up would be on grass, because grass has the least amount of, say, radiation coming up off the Earth. It's a softer environment, so it can absorb more cushioning effect as well. But say setting it up on concrete or asphalt, especially if you had a nice hot day, that asphalt's going to take a long time to cool down, and it's kind of like looking at a desert road in the summertime when you might see these waves coming up off the road. That's the effect you're going to see going by your telescope, because you've got a cold air mass above you and you've got this radiant heat on the ground that's trying to get back to the atmosphere. And heat rises, of course, and when you're looking through a telescope, everything is magnified, so you're going to be seeing that effect a lot more. So try to avoid setting up on concrete or asphalt. Try not to look over the top of a roof of a building, because that roof is also going to be exiting heat up into the atmosphere. A chimney, that type of thing. Stay away from big buildings, box stores, whatever. Don't be looking over the top of buildings if you can help it. Try to look out over an area that's wide open. Trees, maybe, that would even be better. All that summer's day heat is going to be passing by your scope. And also, don't set up on your deck. That causes a lot of vibration. Even with these vibration pads that you can get under your telescope, and I've set up, larger telescopes with a lot of weight on a deck, and it still vibrates. It doesn't matter. Just the smallest amount of movement that you'll make across your deck, you'll be actually shaking that view. And again, every time you change your magnification, that shaking becomes a lot more apparent, right? So don't set up on a deck. So set up on grass if possible, and you can put little pieces of rubber or whatever underneath each leg that'll help to absorb some of the shock as well. Like you might not want to set them right on the grass, because the bottom of the tripods might dig into the grass a bit, might set you unlevel if you have a heavy telescope after a bit. So set them on.
It's the same as when we go to the beach, and so the legs don't sink in the sand. We put little pads down to set the legs on.
Plywood or something like that, just something that you can set them on so it bears out the weight a little bit better. So. Okay, so that's another one we would probably suggest. And now let's go to number 8, because we're only going to cover 10 out of the top 20 this week. I would say probably learn to use averted vision. I mean, when you're trying to find those really faint objects in the field of view, they can be really tough, especially when you've got any kind of a light from the moon, or if you're in a light polluted area and you want to observe a galaxy, or you want to observe one of those faint nebula, or even the Andromeda galaxy, even that. I've seen the Whirlpool galaxy be very fuzzy, and the longer I look at the galaxy, the more detail would pop out at me. I would start to see the band or the arms and the spiral arms, and a little bit of that detail would start to pop. But you're using what we call averted vision. So averted vision is more that you're looking. It's a technique of looking out the corner of your eye to see fainter objects more clearly. Okay, so training the eye to use averted vision will enable you to see much more of the night sky. The eye has 2 types of detectors, within the retina. These are your rods and your cones. Now, the rods are the low light detectors, where the cones allow the full color, high resolution eyesight. Now, the eye is about 40 times more sensitive in this area than it is at its center. So to get to the sensitive area, you have to look to one side of the faint object that you're trying to see. It does take some time to train your eye to use averted vision, but it greatly improves what you can see, especially with very dim objects. So don't look at, you're going to be looking at the object straight on, but you're also going to be kind of looking at it here if you can. So trying to turn your eyeball just a bit so that you can still see it out of your peripheral field of view here. And
what I tell people, and I use 2-inch eyepieces when we're doing public observing and stuff, but when they look in the eyepiece and say, I don't see anything, I say, look around the outer edge of the eyepiece. Right. And the object will show up in the middle as you're looking around the outer edge of the eyepiece.
Yeah.
And that automatically their averted vision picks it up, and sure enough, they see it.
So what's the one that we show in the summertime?
Blinking planetary.
Blinking planetary. Thank you. The blinking planetary nebula is an exact example of that feature, because you can look at it straight on, and then you'll turn your eyeball to the side, and you come back again, and it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that amazing that it happens. So yeah, try using averted vision as much as possible when you're trying to find those faint fuzzies. Now, another one that might fit along with the faint fuzzies is really, if we're trying to find a faint fuzzy in the eyepiece, our eyeballs are very good for movement. They might not be good for viewing at night, but they're very good to pick up movement. So if you try just tapping the telescope a little bit, you might be able to see that object move in your eyepiece, and then all of a sudden, oh, there it is, right? That's another point. Another one is part of the same discussion, I guess, really, if we're going to talk about faint fuzzies. You might be thinking that I don't see that faint fuzzy, so I'm going to widen my field of view so I can pick it out. Okay, it's got to be in there somewhere, because I'll just widen out the field of view. I'll use a higher number eyepiece, which gives me a bigger field of view. That's actually the wrong way to think about it. But it's understandable to think that that would be the right way. But if you actually magnify your view, take it from, say, a 20 millimeter eyepiece down to a 10 millimeter eyepiece, what happens is the background becomes blacker. So that object that's faint will stand out a little bit better at you. So if you're trying to find that really faint fuzzy, try magnifying your view rather than making it a wider field. Okay, so that's all part of that. We'll move on to number 9 here, which we stated, which could be viewing the moon. So, of course, viewing the moon can be very difficult, almost painful, really, to look at the moon through a telescope with no filter on your telescope. So using filters will help a lot on celestial objects, but nowhere more so than really viewing the moon. The moon is the second brightest object in our sky. So you can buy moon filters that act just like sunglasses, really. They're just a piece of lens that darken that image down so that the light will come through there filtered and easily allow you to see the moon easier. Now, but if you can only afford one filter at all, try to make it a blue one. If you see sets of filters, you get these kind of sets, and if you can only get one filter of them all, try to make that filter a blue filter. And the reason why is because the blue filter will work well on the bands of Jupiter. It also helps you bring out some detail on Saturn and then on the moon as well. So try that. If you're also considering a filter for an eyepiece, maybe we'll talk about that next week, but maybe I'll save that point for next week. It's to do with eyepieces and filters and diagonals and how to use them together. But that would be the next point, to say maybe if you're viewing the moon and you can only get one filter, try a blue one. You should get a little bit more detail out of it. Finally, then, okay, probably one of the major points that, and I don't do, but I've heard it suggested to many, and I know people who do this regularly, is keep an observing log. If I had kept an observing log 10 years ago when I got into this hobby, it would have been interesting to go back and see what I've accomplished over the last 10 years, or what I've been able to see, and just what I've been able to visualize. If I'm looking at Jupiter and tonight I can see the bands of Jupiter, what was different tonight than a few nights ago. We have a friend of ours that does a lot of observing logs, and he puts down every note the temperature. Dave McCashin puts down the temperature outside, the humidity level, how many frogs you saw walking by, croaking.
Yeah, the crickets are
The
chirping.
whole thing is just it's very very detailed. But you can go back to his logs, and he can go back and I can remember that night now. I did this, I did that. So keeping an observing log is great to help you find out your accomplishments, and maybe go back and repeat those actions if you want to do that same action again. So say you had a particular night, it was a particular phase of the moon, and you wanted to see a certain feature, and you haven't been able to see it since. Well, go back to your notes and find that kind of thing. So it's a great way to study astronomy. It's a great way to learn. And it's a great way to find out how far you've come as you move your way through this hobby. So Josh asked about, do you sketch all observations or just take notes? Josh, in a lot of cases, people sketch. And I believe there are a few people on here actually that do sketch. And the more you sketch, I think the better you know that object.
The better observer you become. I've done a bit of it,
mm-hmm.
and especially when you're doing moon craters, boy, can you really start to find fine detail, because that's what you're looking for, because you're trying to see or sketch what you see.
Right.
And you become a much better observer for fine detail.
Yeah, moon is always a great one to start. Emil Cormier. Emil does a lot of sketching. He does some amazing sketching work, and when you capture some sketching with like lunar craters and things like that, you get to learn that particular area. So it's really you're studying that part of the moon, right? So yeah, you do learn a whole lot more. So I would suggest that those are probably our 10 of our top 20, maybe. Guys, any points along the way that you want to?
Just one quick one, and it's an old trick that a lot of astronomers have used over the years. If you're in an area that there are some lights and you can't avoid them, then just bring like a little blanket with you, a small one, not great big, but enough that you can cover up your scope in your head. And almost like the old camera days when they used to take a picture, they would put a big tarp over them to take the picture. So if you got something like that, that will keep your eyes dark adapted all the time, regardless of what your surroundings are. And you will actually be able to see better because your contrast will be way better under a blanket than it is trying to deal with some stray light.
Yep, great. Mike?
If I was to have a tip, and I don't know if you call it a tip or an accessory, but I call it both. It's a tip and an accessory. Double-sided Velcro tape. Get yourself a large roll of double-sided Velcro tape. You can use this for anything and everything. I mean, you want to strap cables down. You want to hold a pencil to the side of your tripod leg. You want to hold a red light pointed downwards. The double-sided Velcro tape is the best accessory you could possibly have for your telescope.
Yep, absolutely. Josh is saying, what kind of notes do you take if you don't sketch, Josh? So I guess you would take notes about the conditions, the sky conditions, the date and time, where you were set up, what the conditions happened to be that night. What you were observing. What did you see that night? Did you see M13? Did you see anything special in the eyepiece? Was there any particular eyepiece or magnification level you were using? Were there any tricks that you picked up that night that you could apply later on? Because you can go back and flip through them and say, oh, I forgot that I had done this to make this happen, kind of thing. So that's the kind of stuff. Using averted vision, what could you see that night? What objects were you trying to prepare for? So it's just keeping a written notes of what you experienced over that little bit of time, and that can help you down the road when you start going back through your books and looking at things like the total lunar eclipse. When was the last one of those, or how was it viewed, or whatever. So that's the kind of thing I think I would be looking. Mike, where do you get the Velcro? You can get that at
any hardware store out there. Canadian Tire has it. Sometimes the dollar stores even have it sometimes.
Exactly, yeah.
Just, keep your eyes open. Any hardware store you go into, they'll have it.
And Dan says the bright moon can ruin your night vision as well. That's true, Dan. So yeah, when you're trying to, get those faint fuzzy objects on a moon night like we've got, this week. It's pretty difficult, right? So you're just going to shoot for the moon and the planets and those type of things on evenings like this. Okay, so maybe we'll venture away from that topic because we're already into 8:45. Whew. But we were a little bit late starting too, so. Let's move on then to how about what's up in the sky this week, Doc?
What's up, Doc?
What's up, Doc? Let's see if I can find it. Okay, so we'll take a little look at what's up this week. try this. Oh, hang on. I don't have it. I'm not sharing my screen, so we're going to try that again. Let me go back to share my screen here so you guys can see it.
I see Venus on YouTube.
Okay, let's try again. Okay, so a little bit of what's going on this week in the sky. Hey, this is our big topic, right? Let's first of all talk about the parade of morning planets going on. So look to the morning skies all week as the morning parade of planets greets your day. And the morning show should be at its best around midweek as we wait for Jupiter to climb higher each morning, while also dealing with the brightening horizon with the early approach of sunrise now, so you have to get out pretty early. So for bright Jupiter, even brighter Venus, and the faint red ball of Mars and slightly dimmer Saturn, Mars and Saturn will be competing harder against the bright sky before sunrise. So best to try to catch them as early as 5:15, sorry to say. And if the skies aren't clear, though, don't worry. This show is going to be remaining for at least a couple of weeks. We'll be able to see this particular show, and it's going to get even better. So we'll look forward to that. Now, next up, all week long, Mercury is in our evening sky. Now, over the next 2 weeks, Mercury is at its best evening viewing for the rest of the year, actually. It reaches its greatest elongation, or its farthest distance away from the sun, on April 29th, so we're not quite there yet. Until then, though, it will continue to climb a little higher each night at the same time. Now, since Mercury takes only 88 days to orbit the sun, our viewing chances are difficult, so give it a try. It's always a nice target to see if you can, a nice challenge to see if you can get that one. Now, all week long, we're starting to say goodbye to Orion and the winter hexagon. Hooray! Because that means the signs of spring are coming. A sure sign that spring has finally arrived is the view of Orion, Taurus, and the winter hexagon disappearing in the west so early in the evening. Now, these have been our primary south sky constellations, of course, for a while now, but it's time very soon to bid them goodbye until fall. We have less than 2 weeks really left to enjoy them in our evening sky. Now, I'm going to miss the Pleiades and I'll miss Orion, but I'm looking forward to Cygnus. Did I say that out loud? Oh my goodness. I couldn't have.
Slip of the tongue.
Yes. Okay, so tomorrow morning now, catch the moon set. There's one that you might not have thought about. We talk a lot about the beauty of a moonrise, but there is just as much beauty witnessing a moon set. On Monday, tomorrow, April 18th, you can catch the moon set as you head out for your morning commute. Grab a coffee, your favorite beverage, and enjoy the free view. It will make your day that much better. And if you miss Monday, you have more, my spelling's a little off there, more chances. A moon set will be in the southwest at 7:34 a.m. on Monday, 8:07 a.m. on Tuesday, and 8:50 a.m. on Wednesday. So depending on what time you go to work, you may be able to catch it all 3 days. So watch for a moon set. Gives you just as nice a view. Now, Thursday, April 21st and Friday, April 22nd, is the Lyrid Meteor Shower peak. So this is the meteor showers coming up. This one arrives next week. Now, the Lyrids typically produce about 15 to 20 meteors per hour. Your best time for viewing this this year will be the few hours before midnight, as after that, the bright gibbous moon will surely wash out most of them. Now, the Lyrids seem to originate from the constellation Lyra, right next to Cygnus there, my old buddy, and between that and Hercules. Now, it's one of the oldest recorded meteor showers, more than 2,500 years old, according to some historical Chinese texts. It is best known for a number of fireballs it produces, though, which are created by debris from the comet Thatcher, which takes about 415 years to orbit the sun. So the Lyrids are in a really good show this year because of the fact that the moon is going to be up right around prime time. So you really want to get out around 11 o'clock or so and catch them. Now, next Saturday, April 23rd, we have the third quarter moon. Now, moon enters its third quarter phase on Saturday. This presents a perfect time to follow along the Terminator and enjoy the many features that are revealed, like the lunar Maria, these large dark patches you see on the moon here, mountain ranges, and the many interesting craters. Now, as you pass third quarter and head towards a waning crescent moon, we'll be watching the morning skies once again as our celestial neighbor greets the morning planets, which is coming up. So let's take a look at next Sunday. Next Sunday morning, here we are. So we had the show Jupiter, Venus, Mars, and Saturn, but look what's coming in the show. Waning crescent moon's going to join the show. So this is fantastic. Next Sunday, greet the early morning sky with a spectacular show as our waning crescent moon joins the morning parade of planets. Our morning view will include the moon, and it will visit each of the planets over these few days, ending with a beautiful celestial trio of Jupiter, Venus, and our moon together on the morning of Wednesday, April 27th. There's much more happening next week as well. We'll talk more about what's happening next week. But this show is actually going to get even better in June because actually Mercury is going to join the show in June. So it'll be coming up in the morning sky. We'll have Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Mars, and Saturn. And in between Venus and Mars will be Uranus. In between Mars and Saturn will be Neptune. So all 7 planets will be on in our morning sky in June. And the moon will be joining them too later on. So that's only happened 3 times in the last 17 years. So that's going to be an interesting June coming up. And of course, if you want to get more information, I always point you towards Lisa's Lookup, Astronomy and More. Lisa's on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter by the name of Ruby Moonbeams. And with Lisa's events, she lists her events down here. She lists the dates of the events and the peak times of them, and she'll list the seeing tools, either naked eye, binoculars, or telescopes. So I highly recommend you go check out Lisa's page. She does a lot of stuff along the same line as I do, and it's very interesting. And so go visit her page as well and give her a like and share as well. And finally, I belong to the St. John Astronomy Club. We have 3 clubs here in the province. But you can go to sjastronomy.ca where we have this calendar printed out every month, and just download the calendar and it'll tell you what's happening over the next month and a half, I guess, here. So all of the events that are coming up, including, hasn't quite mentioned, but on the 15th of May, we'll be having a total lunar eclipse. We'll be talking more about that in the future too. So that's what's up in our sky this month, or this week, sorry. Well, this month too. Okay, that's my chat. Now I can sit back and relax and let you guys talk. Oh, I'm going to stop sharing. I did. Okay. And I'm going to go full screen. There, that's better. Okay. From there, we're going to try Paul's astrophotography tip of the week.
Okay. All right. So this week, very, very simple, quick, an easy thing to do if you have pics in sight. A very simple, not so quick thing to do if you have Photoshop. So I'm not going to show you the Photoshop technique. I will show you a page where there is an actual download of the total process, but the end results will be the same with whichever software you happen to choose. So I'm going to share my screen, and right there. Okay, so a lot of people go out and they take pictures of the night sky. They look at the pictures when they get them all stacked up, and then they realize, oh my God, look at all those stars that look like Easter eggs, except they're not painted. So keeping on the Easter theme, we had to bring up the eggs. So how do we take those eggs and make them not look like eggs? Well, first of all, let's have a look at what I'm talking about. So I'll just grab this image here, and let's just make it a whole lot bigger. And then we're going to show you what I'm talking about. So if you look at the stars in this image, you're going to notice that the smaller ones, especially, is where you really start to notice it, is they don't look round. They're elongated. In other words, they're stretching upwards. So they actually look, they have a shape like an egg does. And that's not desirable for an astro image. You want your stars as round as possible. This can happen for a number of reasons. It can be some tilting in your optic. It can be anything, or it can just be the fact that you've got a lens system that's just going to be inherent in that, or maybe it was your setup, maybe it was your tracking. Who knows? The fact remains that when you have them, you want to know how to get rid of them. So the very simple thing to do if you have pics in sight is you're going to go to a tool called deconvolution. And how to find it? You go to processes, all processes, and then go down to where it says deconvolution. In pics in sight, every one of your tools are in alphabetical order. So deconvolution is the one that you want. So I already have that open here. And what you're going to do with deconvolution is very, very simple. you've got 3 parameters on the top. You got parametric PSF, motion blur PSF, and external PSF. PSF just means point spread function. How are my stars spread out? That's all it means. So what you're going to do is you're going to use the motion blur PSF, and you're going to use the little sliders underneath, the length and the angle. So you can see right now, I've got this one already set up, which is pretty much the same shape as my star. If I didn't, let's say, for example, I want to adjust the length of my elongation, because this is not a serious elongation, but it's one that I would certainly adjust. But I can make my length very long, I can make it very short, but I can also angle the star the same way that the elongation is. So in this case, my elongation is pretty much straight up, maybe a slight angle to one side, but let's just say it's straight up. And it's not real long. So if you look at the length on this, typically 4 to 6 is probably all you're going to need. We'll try 5 on this and see what happens. You don't have to worry about any of the stuff down below. You can use that as default. Don't worry about it. The only thing that you might want to keep an eye on is your iterations. How many times are you going to apply this to your object? So all you have to do, once you've got that set up, you've got the star, or you got your angle pointing the same way that the star is in its elongation, and you've got the length, because you don't want to stretch this thing way up there because it'll make your stars flat if you're not careful. So let's just try it with this particular application here. Let's throw the deconvolution onto the application. Let's see what happens. And it just takes a second to chew through. There it goes. And actually, it did a really nice job. Let's make those stars a little bigger. Let's look at the one that I'm circling. I'm going to do a before and after. Before, you can see the elongation. After, you see how it's actually gotten rounder. It's taken that length out of it. You can really see it in these larger stars right here. Again, before, look at the elongation in those stars, the egg shapes here. Keep an eye on those same stars, and look how we rounded them right up. So it's a very, very simple technique to do. The reason that I'm recommending that you do it and how I came about it was I was doing an image of the Jellyfish Nebula. And when I shoot, I'm using monochrome, so I have to shoot it in red, green, and blue, and all that wonderful stuff we go through. And so when I started to inspect my subframes as they come in, I noticed each of the red, the greens, and the blues all had the exact same thing. So whatever was going on in my system happened to each and every one of my images. So if I go ahead and I only adjust one of these images for deconvolution to take my egg shapes away, and I don't do it to the others, I'm still going to have egg shapes. So you have to do it to all of them. But once you discover where you want to set your deconvolution, then you just take the little blue triangle, drag it and drop it on each one of the images like I would here, drag and drop, and it'll go ahead and do its thing. And once it's done, then I'll just go ahead. I won't go through the whole process, it takes a minute, but I would just drag and drop it on each of them. Once I've got that done, I want to show you exactly what happened once we put those together, when I put the red, green, and blue together. So I've already got these pre-stretched, and just to show you that this is the one here that is before the deconvolution, and this is the one that's after. So if you look at that star right here, you can see this one again has the elongation, and this is after stacking all my images together. Stacking doesn't take star shape deformity away if you have star shape deformity in all of your stars. It will take it away if you only have it in a few of them. So you can see nice and round on this particular star, elongated on this star. So these are these would be my frames that I would have actually finished up with. And so that's it. So deconvolution, I'm going to show you now that same technique. And it's from a fellow named Tony Hallis. Anybody who's been in astrophotography will know his name. He's been doing this for a long time. And he was a guy that did DSLR imaging forever and ever and ever. And I think the process that he's talking about here called fixing oval stars. And it's from Astronomy magazine. And this particular one was, I got it up there somewhere. Let me just make this bigger so I can read it. Yeah, 2012. And it's called Fixing Oval Stars. So if you just type in Fixing Oval Stars, Astronomy 2012, you'll get this article. In the article, he explains step 1, this is what you do. Step 2, this is what you do. Right on to taking what are very elongated stars, as you can see here, and making them nice and round, as you can see there. And so it's about an 8-step process through Photoshop. So if you are a Photoshop user, you have elongated stars, follow Tony's simple train of thought there, and you'll be able to take care of your elongated stars. So that's my astrophotography tip of the week.
Awesome, Paul.
Awesome.
Great tip. Or just send your photo to Paul, and Paul will fix it up for you.
There you go.
For a price, for a fee.
Buck a star.
Buck a star. Yeah. 400 billion stars.
Get rich fast. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul. Great tip, as usual. And now we're going to move on to Mr. Bino Bud.
Oh, Bud. Alrighty, we should have Bino coming up on the screen.
There he is.
Spring is in the air. You know, the birds are doing their thing because spring is in the air. So what we're going to look for tonight on Bino Bud Target of the Week is the broken engagement ring.
Uh-oh.
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 Saying that, the broken engagement ring, it is located near the bowl of the Big Dipper. It is made up of a semicircle of stars about 15 minutes in size. The bright star in the upper left at 7.4 magnitude could be considered the diamond of the ring, but the lower right section of the ring is actually missing. Use your imagination, and I'll show you the picture here. The 3 bright stars to the lower right could be considered the missing stars of the broken engagement ring. So, how do I find it in the sky? Well, about 11 o'clock, it's nice and dark. If you went out and oriented yourself almost due north, but 345 degrees north-northwest, look up, you'll see the Big Dipper. There's the pot of the Big Dipper, and Merak is the star down here in the bottom corner. You want to first find that with your binoculars. As you move down from Merak, come down just a little bit, and right in here, and it's not an easy target, it's challenging, but you will find the broken engagement ring. There's Merak, come down 1 bright star, and just to the left of it, you'll find the broken engagement ring. Now, here's what it will look like if you were looking through a telescope. There's the bright star that makes the diamond. There's the semicircle, and the broken half is here. But if you look down, there's 3 stars in the corner. That might be the piece that broke off. So that's why they call it the broken engagement ring. 10 by 50 binoculars. It is a tight little target. You'll find Merak in the same field of view. Come down 1 bright star and a little bit to the left, and you'll see the semicircle with a bright star at the top. And that is your diamond ring. Next to the full moon, when you look at it, maybe give or take a third of the size of a full moon for a guess. But it does jump out at you in binoculars, and you can see it. Once you spot that bright star that calls a diamond, then you'll see the rest of the ring around it. And we were talking about bugs. This is typical. When your setup is perfect and a mosquito lands on it, there goes your shot. And that is the Binocular Target of the Week by Bino Bud.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike.
That's awesome.
Another great one for people to shoot out for. Speaking about bugs, somebody on here, Joey, I think, mentioned how do you keep the spray away from your gear? Well, I don't like to promote products too much, but I would promote the Thermacell unit, which is what I use quite regularly. It does work very well for bugs, I find. So yeah. I don't use a whole lot of spray, and spray does get around your stuff, and it can get sticky. If you spray it over your optics, you're in trouble, but it will wipe off. But these units they call Thermacell work very well.
Typically, if you're going to spray, just walk away from your gear.
Yeah.
Do your spray and give it a minute, and then move back to your gear.
Yeah. That does help as well, for sure. Okay, let's go from there then to, I guess we're going to go to some photos, because we have some photos to share. Just need a minute to get them up here. Okay, so let me share my screen here. We've got a number of photos here to share.
Da, da, da.
Da-da-da. And I just need a second to get the right page up.
Hello, hello,
Hello,
hello,
hello. No, gotta go over here a second too. 1 second again. Oh, just a little blip. Oh, blip again. Yeah, that's the blips I was telling
Photo
you
blip
about.
of the week.
Just bear with me. I'll get
I got a
there.
new button. I'm not sure what it does, but I got a new button. It's fun.
It's fun, yeah. Yeah, the blue screen of death, we used to call the old Windows 98 days. Yeah. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they were bad. Okay, let's bring up some photos. Let's try this one. There, we should have one up now.
Oh, nice.
Ah, yes.
Okay, now we can get to the notes. Okay. Photo now from Kathy Adams, first of all. Our moon on April 11th. She says, "Hi, Chris. I'm guessing this will be the only time I'll see it this week with the weather forecast, but it was beautiful and I love the daytime moon. Shot with my Sony a6000 on my Celestron 6SE. No reducer. The ISO was 100 and shutter speed was 200th. Awesome.
That's
Thank you,
beautiful.
Kathy, for that. Great shot. Yeah. Lots of detail for a daytime moon.
Oh,
So much there to see. There's so much to enjoy on the moon, right?
oh,
Even from this distance, even from 400,000 kilometers away. David Samard sent this one in. He said, "This is the sun from April 13th in the afternoon. There are 2 sunspots. You'd have to scale up the picture a little bit. They're not very big, but they weren't predicted in the forecast." He said he used his Ioptron mount to pick that out. There are a couple right in here. There is a nice big pile coming around the corner there right now, though. David, you're going to get some nice pictures of those. Thanks for that.
yes, awesome.
We got this one came from Nelson Hogan. This is the waxing gibbous moon taking through his 60mm Tasco. Awesome.
Nice.
Thanks for that, Nelson. Matthew Dupre. Now I got to zoom in some of these because they come in the wrong size. A few shots over the past week, he says. The close-up of the moon is during sunset. I like how much detail is on the Terminator. Absolutely. And the other... hang on now. The other is, this is with the moon and clouds. I'm moving around to 3 different screens here.
Oh, very nice.
Was taken with an iPhone. Not bad for an iPhone.
I like that.
Yeah. You know, don't ever be afraid to go out and take pictures of the moon when it's cloudy, because most of the times you'll get a better picture.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's crazy.
And then he's got this one. The other one is of the Centennial Bridge.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
nice sky up there, around there. Yeah. Great shots, beautiful. Matthew. Thank you for those.
Where's that? Do you know? Centennial Bridge?
I'm not sure if is that the one up in Oromocto or outside of Fredericton? Right in Fredericton, yeah.
Yeah, okay. He'll probably chime in.
Yeah, he probably will, hopefully.
Beautiful.
Sure that's on the Fredericton North side, I think, or something.
Yeah, going from Fredericton North over to the University side there, is it not?
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Oh, it's nice, whatever it is. Beautiful.
Very picturesque, anyway.
Very picturesque. Okay.
Miramichi.
Yeah.
Just chime in.
Miramichi. Okay, thank you. There we go.
The Miramichi.
Thanks, Matthew.
Yeah. I knew it was one of the two. Okay.
They all look the same.
Yeah, they all look the same. This one came in from Ian Bloom from Hi All. He says, "Greetings from Australia. The Lagoon Nebula. This is a lagoon. Taken with my 700D Canon, coupled to my 1400 HD Pro. All images were stacked in Sequator and processed in raw therapy."
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Love to get down there.
Oh, yeah. The skies down there are going to be awesome.
Oh,
Just to be able to see the sky from down there would be fantastic.
Wow.
Very nice.
This one came from Benjamin Lundquist, taken April the 2nd, he said, at Glacier National Park. It's to the west of Calgary. So look what they get out there, huh?
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Ours is gray.
Yeah. If that. We call ours the fog lights, yeah. The foggy aurora. The foggy aurora. Now, Sarah Marie sent this one in at 5 a.m. Saturday morning yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So there you go. See, there's a moon set. So
there's a moon set. Yeah.
Yeah.
What you want to be looking for. Don't be surprised if you can't get the moonrise. Go get the moon set. Ian Bloom sent this one in again from Australia. He said this is taken during his last lunar eclipse from his observatory in Ravenswood, Ravenswood, Victoria, Australia. The moon was in full shadow, ISO 1600, 20-second exposure, 1400 HD Pro Celestron. Now we have
I never thought the Tycho would be at the top of the moon down there, wouldn't I?
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I mean, we're going to get the same view again coming up on the 15th of May at 10:32 Atlantic time, is when the eclipse starts. About 1:11 in the morning is when we start. That's when it's at maximum. So it's going to be in maximum phase about 86 minutes.
Wow.
We're going to have the moon this color. So we're really looking. That's going to be really nice. It doesn't end until about 4:30 in the morning though. Eek. But oh well, might be worth it.
I'll be there.
Yeah, well, I'll be live hopefully, and maybe you guys will be too. Hey.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you yet, but anyway. Is this Joe? No, this is Robert Gadetz. Yeah, this is Robert Gadetz.
Thanks for having me.
Let me say Alt Tab. I think I just got to go Shift Tab. Shift Tab? No, Shift. There, Robert Gadetz. Yeah, okay. Shift Tab off again. Yes, Robert. Apennine Mountains, taken with the Meade LX200, 8-inch SET and a ZWO ASI 224 MC planetary camera, stacked in auto stackered and processed in Registacks. Rests 25% of 5,000 frames. Now, he said he didn't want to be entered in the draw. He already has the book, but we're going to put you in there anyway, Robert, because maybe you'll win the Cliff Valley Astronomy Prize now too. So.
Yeah, right on.
You just wanted to share these photos with everybody anyway, though.
Very nice.
Thank you. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Apennines, beautiful, beautiful mountain. Right in here, I believe, was the Apollo 15 landing site. Right in that spot there. It's right around that area, anyway. Then we have this one as well. Saturn, the same setup he said as before, same processing.
Yes, sir. Nice.
Nice.
The division, very nice.
Yeah.
When did you find the night to do it?
must have been a little older photos, yeah. Maybe last year. We had a good year last year. Jupiter, the same setup, same processing, same thing, he says, just because he wanted to share, though.
Look at that. Great lines.
Lots of stuff going on there.
Lots of bands there, yeah. And his first quarter.
Yes, sir.
Again, with that beautiful Apennine mountain range sitting there. And all of the lunar Maria here, of course. Merry Christmas.
And you can see the straight wall just right on the Terminator.
Right on the Terminator. Yeah, there it is. Yeah,
there you go.
Right there. Yep. I look for the upside down drunken snowman column. Yeah.
Drunken snowman. Yeah.
Well done,
nice.
Robert. Thank you for those. Now, see who we got next here. I think we've got Mr. Tim Libby, I believe, next. Yep, Tim's picture, full pink moon. He said he changed the white balance a bit to 7K to get a pink color.
Nice.
That's nice.
That's okay.
You did it.
You did it.
I like it.
And the Gassendi crater, he said he thought. I think it is. I didn't have a chance to look, but it looks like it.
The shadows, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get a sense of how deep that thing is.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Thank you, Tim.
Very nice.
We're going to go from there to Lisa Fanning, I think. Who's Lisa? No, Duckman Arsenal. I get them mixed up here. Duckman Arsenal, April 15th, almost full moon, he says.
Nice shot.
Well, she's pretty close, isn't it?
It is,
yeah.
Where do I get? Nice. Give me a second here. Just trying to get my things in order. I don't have Lisa's shots in here. I'm sorry, Lisa. We'll have to bring your shots up next week. I thought I had everything in line here.
Lisa Rishi. Lisa Rishi.
Jeff Pendlebury, April 13th from Charlottetown.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's really
nice. Well done.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeff. Alan Burgess, since these ones in, imaged on April 11th, used an 8-inch SET with a ZWO 294 MC Pro, stacked with auto stackered and processed with PixInsight, 900 images. But
yes,
nice
sir.
detail.
Yeah, good detail on the Terminator.
Oh, it's crazy, isn't it?
Beautiful.
Nice.
Never gets old.
Yeah. This one from CN Robichaud.
Yes, sir.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
What do you call that, Chris? A curtain? Venus curtain or something?
Oh, the Belt of Venus.
Belt of Venus, yeah.
Belt of Venus, yeah. So that's on the opposite side of the sun. When the sun sets, it lights up over this side. It's really just light refracting from the sun, bending back over and hitting this side of our atmosphere.
It's just, yeah, I never get tired of seeing that.
Yeah, yeah, that's really nice.
That's just amazing.
It's that curtain before the show starts, basically. So when that disappears, our curtain rises and up comes the starlight. Now, from there, we've got Stacy Field. She says,
nice.
It's in there, I promise. I swear it's up there. It's there. Her moonshot.
And she's in the field.
Yeah.
Nice shot.
Looks like I'm missing a few photos here tonight. I guess I didn't get as many as I was hoping here. I'm going to have to include these ones next week for sure. I got lots of photos here to add for next week. So, Kathy Adams sent these ones in as well. Kathy said just a couple shots in between the clouds, getting faster at getting them between them. Lots of practice this year, she says.
Practice makes perfect. That's perfect.
April Fool's moon, she said, and the Easter Sunday sun.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, for sure. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's nice detail.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Now, I apologize to Lisa and those couple others that I missed the photos, but I will go back and grab all of them, and I'll bring them back up for next week's show. I'll have them ready. I want to go to the last couple here. I've got these from Stu Tingley. Sent these in later. Stu says, hi, Chris. Besides astronomy, birding, moth photography, mushroom photography, etc., I have recently become interested in plane spotting. Over the past couple of weeks, I've made an effort to capture an aircraft passing across the face of the moon during daylight. No luck yet, he said, but I've caught some close calls. The first is the moon at 5:22 p.m. on Wednesday, April the 6th. The aircraft is British Airways, flight BA 209 from London, England to Miami at 40,000 feet. An Airbus A380.
Wow. Great shot.
Yeah. It's got this one. Next is the moon 3 days later at 2:13 p.m. on Saturday, April 9th. Delta Airlines flight DL-177 from Dublin, Ireland to Atlanta, Georgia, and an Airbus A330.
Yes, sir. That's cool.
Very nice.
And his third shot is this one. Finally, another 2 days later, he said at 6:27 a.m. on Monday, April 11th, Air France flight AF92 from Paris to Miami. It's a Boeing 777. He said he forgot to mention that all photos were taken from my backyard in Kokan. Perhaps these photos are a little off topic, not at all. Thanks very much. Stu says he uses the program Flight Radar 24 to get a lot of his info. He says that, quote, I have no affiliation with that app or website. There are lots of other apps for plane spotting as well. Just thought some astronomy enthusiasts might find this of interest since we're always looking up. All the best.
I've got the same one. It's pretty cool.
Oh, have you? Yeah. So,
when my kids are flying home, I watch when they leave Toronto. I watch them fly all the way,
okay.
hoping that the line doesn't stop in the middle.
Just bear with me just for one more minute here. I'm just going to take another look for one more thing. If you could bear with me. If things will load for me here. Yeah, no, it's okay. We'll get those next week. I thought I might be able to bring up those other photos. Anyway, I'm going to carry on here with where we'd like you to send your photos, though, to SNAS now at astronomybythebay.ca.
There we go. Who are those three?
Who are those guys? Yeah, just instead of sending them into SundayNightAstronomyShow@gmail.com, if I can get all of your photos to this address, then I can gather them all in one spot, and I won't be missing them like I do occasionally. So let's get back out of that then, and I'll close here, and we'll stop sharing. Okay. Well, I guess that's probably our show for tonight.
Ding. Fries are done.
Right on time.
Right on time. That must have been my bell, was it?
I had the timer on.
That was my warning. That was my warning sign. Okay.
Before we go, I just want to mention that Tuesday night, YouTube, the Subs and Stars. We're doing our session number 7, and we're going to be doing a lot of the kind of tips I showed tonight with the elongation. I'm going to do a bunch of various tools that are probably some of the more problematic things that happen in astroimaging processing,
Right.
and I'm going to cover a bunch of that stuff. So it's broadcast on YouTube, on the Subs and Stars, and it's myself and the editor of Sky News Magazine, and it's a live broadcast, and it's all about astroimaging. So Tuesday night, 9 o'clock our time.
Thank you, Paul. We're looking forward to it. Okay, so then in closing tonight, I guess we'd like to thank all of you again for your continued support out there, all of you that have been following us all the way through here. Rosanna, we missed you this week, and hope you can join us again next week. Look forward to your next Fun Facts episode. We hope those of you who have joined us from Rogers tonight enjoy the program. If you would like more information about the wonders of the night sky, you can find me at astronomybythebay.ca. Special thanks as well to all of the folks at Rogers for offering this look at stargazing and astronomy to your viewers. And thank you to all of you on my YouTube channel and Facebook page who continue to share our broadcast with your family and friends as well. We really do appreciate it. Remember, we do love getting your photos, so send them into SNAS at astronomybythebay.ca. That's SNAS. And we'll be happy to include them on our next broadcast if I can bring myself to get them all together. One address would be awful nice if I could get them all in one spot. I bring them in from 7 different spots right now. So next week's show will include part 2 of our top astronomy tips, but we're also looking for suggestions for topics for future shows. So you can send them, to the same address, snas at astronomybythebay.ca, and we'll do our best to make it happen for you. And please let your friends and family know that we are here every Sunday night at 8 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook to educate you and entertain you, or edutain you as we like to say, on astronomy and the wonders of the night sky. So for now then, from Mike and Paul and I, we wish you a safe and happy week, everybody. Lots and lots of clear skies, we hope. And as we like to say, guys, open your eyes to view the skies and keep your scopes pointed up. Good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Good one.